This is the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
I'm Stephen A. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the latest edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you as I love to do over the airwaves of ESPN Radio every weekday in 250 plus markets across the United States of America. And of course, nationwide on ESPN Radio, Sirius XM style, channel 80. Number to call up as always is 888-729-3776. That's 888-SAY-ESPN. You can also catch me on Twitter at Stephen A. Smith. On Facebook at Stephen A. So feel free. Holler at me anytime you want to. Got a lot of stuff to get into. I am coming at you live from Los Angeles, California, the city of angels, palm trees, Venice Beach, Rodeo Drive, and everything in between. And I can't be happier. It's the first time I've been in warm weather in over a month. I feel good. I feel good. And let me tell you something else right now. I'll tell you who might not be feeling so good. That might be the Los Angeles Lakers. Because when I watched the Cleveland Cavaliers last night and I look at Jordan Clarkson and Larry Nance Jr. playing ball the way that they're playing ball, I know that Magic Johnson and the Los Angeles Lakers cleared damn near $70 million in cap space, so they're in position to go after two max players. But I'm here to tell y'all, ladies and gentlemen, right now, they better get somebody. It only matters if you end up getting somebody. Because if you didn't get anybody and you gave up two 25-year-olds that's capable of producing, particularly when they're playing with a star like LeBron James, I got to tell you something. That's going to pinch you a little bit. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt to watch. Not that Magic Johnson and Rob Pelinka didn't do an outstanding job, because they did. But I'm just saying, Larry Nance Jr. can play. Jordan Clarkson can play. And it is time to really, really engage in a healthy conversation about what potentially may take place before our very eyes. It's just two games. A lot of people talk about there's nothing to get too excited about. I don't look at it that way. I don't view things that way. I know basketball. I know talent when I see it. I know when talent is gelling. And I'm saying, if you look at the Cleveland Cavaliers, clearly J.R. Smith is playing out of his mind. He's hit 20 of his last 34 three-point shots. In his last 5 games alone, one game he shot about 85%, another game he shot about 66%, a couple of games he shot about 50%. J.R. Smith over the last 5 games has been flat out balling. The shot has been falling. Is it going to continue to do so at the clip that it's doing so now? No, but it doesn't necessarily have to. The key thing where J.R. Smith is concerned is that is he going to be a formidable threat because he's making his share of shots? If that answer is yes, where does that leave you? Because I got news for you. Looking at LeBron James, the best player in the world unquestionably, balling the way that he's balling this year, understanding that this 4-game winning streak that the Cleveland Cavaliers are on has been without the services of Kevin Love. Looking at a guy like Larry Nance Jr., which LA is more than familiar with, where you got a guy that literally is not just about his athleticism, it's not just about his ability to defend and to be a substantive acquisition on your front court. It's also that guy that can step out and defend on the perimeter in pick and roll situations. Who doesn't forces your defense to the collapse? Who doesn't compromise you on the defensive end of the floor? And if you look at it from that perspective, the fact that he can defend like that and Clarkson can suddenly create his own shot, and as a result, that takes pressure off LeBron, which takes pressure off of J.R. Smith. And you look at it from that perspective, Cleveland is something to look forward to. I'm of the mindset right now, they'll cakewalk through the East. Because when you add 3 25-year-olds and an experienced point guard like George Hill, who's known as being a quality defender against opposing point guards, not to mention somebody capable of hitting 3-point shots of his own. When you have that at your disposal, when you have that available to you, you have upgraded exponentially. And if you've done that, how are we to look at the rest of the East? In Boston, Kyrie they don't have any depth. I love Jason Tatum, who some would argue the Lakers should have drafted. You look at Jaylen Brown, he can ball. You look at Al Horford, you can't ignore him. You look at the Terry Roziers, the Marcus Smarts of the world, the Aaron Baines of the world coming off the bench. They can't be ignored. But Boston doesn't really have depth. Toronto with DeRozan and Kyle Lowry, you don't know whether you can trust them. The Washington Wizards got emotional issues where, Wall is out. They're playing better without Wall, but they're throwing shade at him on Twitter, even though he's their $175 million player that's destined to come back before March is over. You got the Miami Heat happy to have Dwayne Wade back. Bunch of young Lions that don't mind competing against anybody, but not having Dion Waiters has not helped them. And you got guys that struggle to make perimeter shots. Who's going to stand in the way of the Cavs? The Cavs are going, if they cakewalked last year through the Eastern Conference, why wouldn't they do it this year? Because Kyrie's in Boston, that's all you got. That ain't good enough. That ain't good enough. So now we come out west. And looking out west, it's supposed to be all about Golden State. But here's the flip side to all of that. It might be all about Golden State, but Houston can't be ignored. James Harden is unquestionably the MVP. CP3 is an MVP candidate. You look at the San Antonio Spurs, despite losing last night. They played this entire season practically without Kawhi Leonard. What about when he comes back? You got OKC. They lost last night and have no bench to speak of as far as I'm concerned, which is a problem. But they still got a big three capable of exploding. And if your bench could give you some quality minutes just to rest those dudes, you're in good hands. But the Warriors are still expected to come out of the West. And I'm looking at it from Cleveland's perspective. If you can defend, if you can neutralize to some degree, if you can prevent a team from dropping 120 on you. See, this is the difference between me and all these analytic dudes reading stuff all the damn time. I read the analytics too. I've been doing it for years, but I don't depend on it, especially come playoff time. Because the difference, you can study analytics sheets all day, all night long, like all of these dudes do in this day and age. You can do that. And you're not wrong because it's strictly by the numbers. Regular season, 82 games, taking nights off, back-to-backs. And, oh, by the way, even when there's no back-to-back, you don't know what dudes are doing on their off days because regular season games are not prioritized to the degree that postseason games are prioritized. So don't think that guys don't go out there and have a good time and play and party and do all of that stuff to compromise them being from 100% until it's time. Analytics don't take that into consideration. I do. I think about the preparation. I think about the off days you have an opportunity to prepare. And I understand that analytics are going to get their behinds waxed come postseason time because all of that's going to get thrown out of the window. That's my belief. And what it comes down to for me is that here's all you want. Here's how you analyze Cleveland and what they've done. It's what New York should think about. It's what the Lakers should think about. It's what every team in between should think about. Here's what it comes down to, ladies and gentlemen. In the sport of basketball, not football, not baseball, where you're at the mercy of teammates because you're helpless to do but so much. In the sport of basketball, here's the bottom line. Do you have a team that can keep it close enough where the final 3 minutes of a game comes down to the wire? If the answer for Cleveland is yes, don't you then ask Superman to put on his cape and say, here it is, take me to the promised land? Don't you get to do that? I think that's what you want. And if that's the case, I got news for you. The whole NBA playoff picture has just become very, very interesting. I still think the Eastern Conference is a cakewalk. The West isn't. And the finals probably won't be either. And that's really all we can ask for, particularly as All-Star Weekend approaches, isn't it? I think so. What about you? 888-SAY-ESPN. That's the number to call up. That's 888-729-3776. More of your phone calls coming up in a minute. Brian Windhorst, our NBA analyst and reporter extraordinaire. He'll be on the show with us a little bit later on. Looking forward to talking to him as well. Plus, I'm going to get into some stuff, some NFL stuff. New coaches in New York and Philadelphia. Dallas Cowboys making news for all the wrong reasons yet again. That stuff and more is definitely something I want to talk about. Plus, I want to get into TNT segment last night. Baron Davis, Isaiah Thomas, the Isaiah Thomas, the Hall of Famer, not the one in the Lakers right now. Chris Webber and Shaquille O'Neal had a conversation last night that I found very, very interesting. We'll be talking about that and so much more in a minute. Stick around. You're listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
It's interesting that this song is playing right now. And it's not just because it's Valentine's Day, a day of love. An opportunity for you, the fellas out there, to touch the life of that special someone who means so much to you, touches your heart. It's not just because of that. It's because Keith Sweat is the one singing this song. It's because I have a book in front of me, Make It Last Forever, the do's and don'ts, according to Keith Sweat, that was left here in the L.A. studios for me by Mr. Keyshawn Johnson. I don't even know how to take that. Keyshawn and his crazy self. Love Doctor's going to pay a last visit. Approximately 15 minutes past hour number 2. Back here on the Stephen A. Smith Show. ESPN Radio. Plus, top 2 o'clock hour, Brian Windhorst will come on beforehand. Not that he needs to precede a Love Doctor segment. But then again, he is a special teddy bear to somebody. We do know this about Brian Windhorst. Happily married man. Welcome back to Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, 888. Say ESPN, that's the number to call up. This 888-729-3776. No calls are up on the screen. I need my help from my producers to show me what calls are up here because my screen is frozen, so I can't see who's on the line with us right now. Kat, who do we have on the line? Chris in L.A., you're live with Stephen A. Let's go with it. What's up? Chris, are you there? Bye, Chris. Who else do we have, Kat? Roscoe in Orlando, you're live with Stephen A. What's up?
Hey, what's going on, Stephen A?
What's going on, man? Talk to me.
Real quick, man, I want people to understand, like, I'm a longtime LeBron fan, okay?
Okay.
And what just happened was epic. And they ignoring the fact because it's been 2 games that the talent that they just surround him with, these guys are hungry. And I'm telling you, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. So you tell everybody, they better watch out. I promise you that.
You know, listen, here's the thing. The Golden State Warriors are no joke. They are the creme de la creme. Everybody is aiming for them. We understand that. But I think the important point to recognize is that we got to dissect what we're seeing here. Larry Nance Jr. is an athletic front court player who rebounds, who defends, and he doesn't just defend in the interior. He defends on the perimeter. That's a very, very big deal. Jordan Clarkson is a guy who's never needed anybody to help him get his shot off. That's a very, very big deal. The fact that they're both accustomed to playing together is why Tyronn Lue has them on the court together. That's a very, very big deal. The fact that their chemistry has instantly become contagious to the point where LeBron and J.R. Smith and Jeff Green is feeding off of it. That's a very big deal. Last night against Oklahoma City with Steven Adams in the middle, recording 22 points and 17 rebounds. The Cavaliers had LeBron James, Jeff Green, Larry Nance Jr., J.R. Smith, and Jordan Clarkson on the court together. And Oklahoma City couldn't hang with them. That's a very big deal. That's a very big deal. And oh, by the way, while they're in the midst of this winning streak, they haven't even had their second best player, which is Kevin Love. This is not something that can be dismissed. The Cleveland Cavaliers, I believe, will coax through the Eastern Conference. They will coast through the Eastern Conference. And what they will do out west, if they're capable of defending and keeping games close, then it comes down to Golden State's ability to stop LeBron. And good luck with that. That's how I'm looking at this, Roscoe.
Thanks for the call, Stephen A.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Who else do we have, Kat? Des in Pennsylvania, you're live with Stephen A. What's up?
Hey, good afternoon, Stephen A. How you doing today?
Talk to me, man.
All right, there. I just want to make a comment on the Cavaliers. I believe they had a good team the last round, but now they had dismembered it. They got a pretty good team this round as well. But I just hope that if time comes to crunch, that Superman can put on his cape. We always trying to compare him to Jordan. Like Jordan took over the team. If the team was stumbling, he'll make a run for it. I hope LeBron can do the same thing.
Well, we got to find out. What it's my hope. See, this is what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for an epic battle that ultimately, and see, guys like Max Kellerman and others act like this is impossible, but in the game of basketball, it is. It is entirely possible that even though Kevin Durant has guys, elite individuals to help him out, or Steph Curry has elite individuals to help him out, et cetera, and that's not necessarily the case with LeBron James. It is entirely possible that the game can be so tight that you're Tyronn Lue and you're perfectly in position to say, here's the ball, LeBron. Take us there. That's what I want to see. I want to see that guy. I want to see that guy who takes over, where it's like it's a one-man wrecking crew and it's close. And guess what? Golden State, you got to stop him. Or Cleveland, you got to stop Kevin Durant. Or you got to stop James Harden. That's what I want to see. Because it's those moments that define the greatness that we allude to so often. It's what I'm starving for, Des. That's what I wish for. That's what I'm craving for. And that's what I believe we all deserve. How about you?
That's right. That's what I want to see. Last year they had Kyrie Irving, but this time they don't have him, so we got to go to somebody else. And I hope LeBron step it up. There you go. Thank you for the call.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. We'll continue discussing this. Plus, we'll get into LeBron and whether or not he deserves strong league MVP consideration. I'll tell you what I think and why. Plus a little something extra in just a minute. You're listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio.
Guess what? You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it! Looking back, all of these years, I shedded some tears. Told myself time and time again, I'm going to win. This is beautiful. It's Teddy Pendergrass. Y'all wouldn't know about this. You young whippersnappers out there, would you? Start all over again. Think I better let it go? Kick that music, cat. Looks like another love TKO. Whoa. Think I better let it go? Valentine's Day with Stephen A. Live right here on ESPN Radio. You young whippersnappers out there wouldn't know anything about Teddy, would you? Would you? So much to learn. But you got time. You got time. ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Protecting your small business is a big deal. Cover what you've worked so hard for. Visit ProgressiveCommercial.com. Got a little nephew of mine, Corey Bang. He's out there. He's want to call into the radio show. Tell y'all how the Love Doctor helped him out. I want him to talk to y'all about that. Educate y'all in case y'all slept on the Love Doctor. He's scheduled to make a visit. Love Doctor scheduled to make a visit. 15 minutes past hour number 2. My nephew Corey might call in after that. Just want to let y'all know. Until then, we'll get back to the phones right here. Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio. Before I do, by the way, let me say this. LeBron James is the best player in the world. LeBron James, superstar extraordinaire. There's no talent in the NBA as formidable as him. It's undeniable. Having said all of that, LeBron James does not deserve league MVP honors. I don't give a damn what anybody says. A couple of things to point out. Number one, the best player in the world usually does not win league MVP honors. There's plenty of times Jordan didn't win it. There's plenty of times Shaquille O'Neal didn't win it. It happens. You got to deal with that. That's just the reality, and there's no way around that. We can slice it any way we want to. But that's reality. That's number one. But number two, and more importantly, whereas we fully recognize that LeBron James, numbers-wise, brings what he brings to the table, and LeBron James, numbers-wise, continues to prove he's the best in the world because of his all-around brilliance and his greatness, etc. Ladies and gentlemen, LeBron James does not get a pass for what happened in Cleveland over the first 50 games of this season. Kyrie Irving wanted out. J.R. Smith and Jimmy Crowder came on the team. They departed with friction. They departed feeling a bit salty. In between, there was a relationship with Dwayne Wade that compromised the other relationships that LeBron James had on this team. As a result, they weren't a good team in terms of chemistry. They weren't a good team in terms of offense on the floor. They weren't a good team defensively at all. They were one of the bottom three in the game. And rookie GM Kobe Altman pulls off an incredible deadline trade that brings 4 new players to the squad. And by the way, I don't mention enough about Rodney Hood, who's only 6'8" and shooting 3-pointers for a 39% rate. We can't ignore all of those things. So let me tell y'all something right now that's very, very important for you to understand. Whereas you're the best player in the world, considering the struggles that the Cleveland Cavaliers had, if anybody deserves MVP consideration, it's Kobe Altman. Because if he didn't make that deal, what would we be saying about LeBron? As far as I'm concerned, I don't want any excuses to get in the way of James Harden being stripped of league MVP honors this year. Because right now, if the vote was today, he is clearly the league MVP. Period. And by the way, my rookie of the year is Donovan Mitchell out of Utah. It ain't Ben Simmons out of Philly. It ain't Jason Tatum out of Boston. It's Donovan Mitchell in Utah. The brother's special. He's leading the team in scoring. He's their go-to player, and he's a rookie. I don't want to hear it. They've won 10 straight. They're a game over 500. They're a game and a half out of the playoff spot. This is after losing Gordon Hayward. Because Donovan Mitchell can ball. Period. He's a closer. And he's a rookie. Lakers could have had him. Now you had Jordan Clarkson. They could have had Malik Monk, too. Oh, you had Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Could have had Dennis Smith Jr. Same reasons why you didn't. Could have had Markkanen. Now you had Larry Nance Jr. and Brandon Ingram. Could have had De'Aaron Fox, who dropped 39 on Lonzo Ball in the NCAA tournament when he was playing at UCLA. You had to get Lonzo. Okay. I'm not black, I'm OJ. Okay. Back to the phones we go. Let's go to Sean in Inglewood. You're live with Stephen A. Talk to me, Sean.
Well, first of all, Stephen A. Smith, yesterday you were totally correct. I shouldn't have been talking about the scrutiny of LeBron. But I'm going to give you a new subject here. The Warriors will not make it to the final. I don't believe they will make it to the finals this year because Draymond Green is starting to get a little chippy with the refs, which has been a problem. The coaching, is starting to boil up there where they're getting tired of, all the, going back and forth. They're getting real fatigued. The only person that's probably still real hungry is Kevin Durant because he wants his second one. And then you got the Houston over there that's just balling. Have the Warriors beat them yet this year? Have they beat the Thunder yet this year? I mean, I just don't get it. And then you got the revamped Cleveland Cavaliers that are looking stupendous over there. I just need your opinion on that.
Are you really going to spend so much emphasis on the regular season? You really going to do that? When it comes to a team like the Warriors, are you really going to do that? Seriously?
I mean, hey, sometimes fatigue, it boils over the season.
How about interest? How about interest? How about the fact that you just ain't that interested because it ain't just that important? How about that? That's something that I don't think could be ignored.
I really wouldn't want to see another Warrior Cavalier saga continue. I mean, you can only put the TV on repeat so many times.
Okay. I hear you talking. I'll be here. I'll be here when you realize that's a non-issue when you call back later. Take it easy. 888 say ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. We'll continue talking about this before we get into some football talk in hour number 2 as well. Stick around. It's the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio. By the way, Zeeper. You've heard of Zeeper, haven't you? It's a company that you can trust and has been around for many years. I personally met the CEO, Dr. Greenberg, and by the way, guess who uses Zeeper? That would happen to be me. Some of you are still snoring because you don't think it's a big enough problem to solve right now. But let me tell you something. Until you get your snoring problem solved, you'll never know how good it feels to sleep without snoring. Here's what you need to do. You need to see for yourself why so many people are using Zeeper. Just go to their website at Zeeper.com. If you're driving, be safe and visit the Zeeper.com website later. Just remember Zeeper, Z-Y-P-P-A-H, is Happy Z spelled backwards. You'll hear all this talk about Zeeper on our show because guess what? It really helps you sleep better. And that means it helps you feel better. And if you have someone you're sleeping next to, they'll appreciate you for getting Zeeper as well. So take a minute and visit the Zeeper website or download Zeeper app and learn why putting an end to snoring is one of the best things you can possibly do for your health. That's Zeeper, Z-Y-P-P-A-H, is Happy Z spelled backwards. You heard me. It's the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio.
Guess what? You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it!
Back to the phones we go. Let's go to Kyle in Cleveland. You're live with Stephen A. Talk to me.
Stephen A., big fan, first-time caller.
Thank you. Go ahead, buddy.
I just wanted to ask you what you thought of LeBron seeming to take some nights off during the regular season. I mean, I grew up watching the Bulls and all their amazing teams in the 90s, and I don't remember Jordan and Pippen ever doing that.
Well, listen, I'm not gonna be too hard on LeBron in that regard. Here's the thing: when you have to carry such a heavy load on both ends of the floor, Michael Jordan never had to do that, but so much as of elite defender as he was, it did help that he had Pippen and Rodman and the three-headed monster, and the game was considerably different than it was in this day and age. The three-point shooting wasn't as formidable back in the day. There was a level of physicality that you could employ that you can't now. All of those things come into consideration. If you want to knock LeBron on the defensive side of the ball, here's what you can say. Somebody like Kawhi Leonard comes out on the court, and from opening tap, he is defending the opposing team's elite offensive player. LeBron James doesn't do that. LeBron James does that in spots. He does that plays here and there in the fourth quarter or something along those lines. He doesn't come out front and center. He doesn't come out like, I got this guy. There ain't no way in hell I'm going for that. He doesn't do that. That much you can say.
Well, do you think it affects the intensity in the regular season then?
Sometimes, but again, he has to carry a heavier load. And at the end of the day, here's what LeBron has learned and has earned the right to feel. LeBron is held accountable, truly held accountable for what transpires in April, May, and June. We talk because he's relevant and he's newsworthy and we can't ignore him. But in terms of real, true accountability, LeBron James has earned the right not to be judged in terms of his on-court performance. You can judge his leadership. You can judge how he leads his troops. You can judge whether or not he's allowed things to be a distraction. But in terms of his on-court performance, LeBron James has graduated to the point where he's earned the right for us not to judge him harshly between the months of November through mid-April.
All right, one more quick question.
He is held accountable for April, May, and June, and we all know that.
So if he was the 8th seed in the East at the end of the year, does that make that big of a difference since he doesn't try as hard? in the playoffs, do you think?
It doesn't make that bit of a difference because he doesn't need home court advantage to win. But I would say to you that's an unfair question to LeBron James because the Cleveland Cavaliers ain't going to be in the 8th seed. That's just unrealistic. But I appreciate the call. Thank you so much. Stephen A. Smith Show being brought to you by Pennzoil Synthetics, taking synthetic motor oil performance to a whole new level. Make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics today. Remember, Brian Windhorst, NBA insider and analyst. He'll be on the show with us. Very, very few people know LeBron James better than him, so make sure you stick around. Listen to Brian Windhorst. Let's go to Jason in Brooklyn. You're live with Stephen A. Go ahead, Jason.
What's up, Stephen? How you doing? Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. Go ahead.
I just want to talk about the state of the Knicks. I feel like Hornacek should give Michael Beasley the red carpet. He hasn't complained all year. He hasn't been a player getting technical fouls. I feel like
Let me stop you right there. Jason, you called up here to talk about Michael Beasley?
No, I actually wanted to talk about if anybody believes that J.R. Smith is going to shoot 70% for the rest of the year.
Nobody. Let me ask you a question. That's a silly question. Who's ever shot 70% in history?
Well, he shot so far for the last 2 games.
I know that, but whoever believes that somebody has shot 70% for the year? Who does that?
I heard what's his name this morning, Max. He was so hyped that he was shooting so good, and I'm like, come on, guys, it's not going to work like this.
Excuse me. Be quiet. Stop. Max Kellerman did not say that. Max Kellerman said exactly what you're saying. Max Kellerman said there's no way he will continue to shoot the way that he has shot. You misquoted and misrepresented his position. Max Kellerman said no such thing.
I thought Max was going in about
you thought wrong.
Him saying that.
You thought wrong. He never said that. He said he's shooting well now. I was the one highlighting what he's done for the last 5 games. And we both acknowledged it won't continue. But the point is, if J.R. Smith shot 40% from 3-point range for the rest of the year, that would be a huge plus for Cleveland. That's how much and how desperately needed his shot is. All right, Rodney Hood is shooting 39% from 3-point range. And he's 6'8" and a capable defender at that. So you look at all of those things, it can't be ignored. And that's why you prop it up and you say there's a chance. Because, again, if they can be competitive enough to defend, then the game could come down the wire with the ball in LeBron's hands. And who don't want to see that?
That night.
Say what?
Series. The Celtics will take them in a 7-game series.
The Celtics will take Cleveland?
Yep.
Well, here's the beauty of it, Jason. Show ain't going nowhere. Neither am I. I'll be here when you're wrong. Feel free to call back. Take it easy. Have a good day. I would be happy if Boston won. Boy, I would be happy if Kyrie Irving put on an absolute show. My question about Boston is their depth. I got serious question marks and problems with their depth. That's what I'm worried about. And because of their absence of depth, I think that it's damn near possible that Cleveland will cakewalk through the Eastern Conference playoffs. Because I just think they've got too many fresh bodies to tax LeBron James, and in the end, he'll be too much for anybody in the East to overcome. But we'll continue talking about that next with my man Brian Windhorst. Plus, the Love Doctor's coming up in hour number 2. Stick around. Don't touch that dial. It's Stephen A., ESPN Radio.
That's just a sample of what you'll hear on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.